Hello, how are we all? Talk today about life after divorce. So everyone's going to be different, absolutely everybody. We've all got different experiences. Our experience of what happened to us is, although the patterns are very similar, our experiences are going to be different. So when you come through that divorce process, it's really important to start nurturing yourself. To divorce emotionally is my biggest passion, is to look at what the wounding is that's driving it. I was with a divorce consultant. I can't do that now. I was with a divorce consultant on Friday, and I was talking to her, and I was trying to explain to her, she deals with all of her clients have been in emotionally abusive relationships, or they were married to, or they are divorcing from narcissistic individuals. That's how she's niched. So I was explaining to her some of the things that people can do to get through that process. We were talking about what drives this emotion. But moving forward, a lot of stuff was driven at that point by emotions, by wounding. And that's why I wrote, I haven't got it. That's what I just realised, I haven't got my book. When you're driven by these wounds, it might be a wound of injustice. It might be that you're watching the abuser walk away and they're getting away what appears to be scot-free. They're walking away with, living their best life, or that's what it looks like. It's really painful. And there are things that might be going on that you're not aware of inside your body, like, why aren't you good enough? And there's an element of what's happened to you during this process. There's an element of what happened in the relationship, and this is still running your life and will continue to run your life until you do something about it, or until everything calms down. It might be that you want justice. You've got through the divorce and you think, oh my gosh, it's going to be, once we've got through the divorce, once we're done, once it's over and done with, once it all settles down with the children or whatever it is that you're looking for, you're finished. And that isn't always the case, because up here it has been tricked into believing so many different lies that you're led to believe that this is the truth, but actually they're all lies. And this is where the work, if you haven't been able to do it during the divorce process or prior to going into the divorce process, it's an ideal time to come out of that and then start working on yourself. Start working on all of the things that you were told. When you're in the process of divorcing, it could be that your divorce is being driven by these wounds, and I say that because that's exactly what happened to me. There was stuff going on, and it was done to purposefully get a response from me, and I did that. I responded, and there was some really nasty things that were said. And I was actually talking to this woman on Friday and saying to her, I totally regretted doing some of the things that I did. Like my ex-husband said to me that if I agreed to the terms, so in the UK, it has changed since then. But in the UK, you had to have 5 reasons to divorce. And all of those reasons, 3 of the 5 were geared at my children. And, I was saying to her, one, I don't know how it got through, but I don't think the court process is just ticking a box. And then when he started accusing me of holding the process up, and he sat on the process for a while, I said to him, if you don't do this, or I said to his legal team, if this doesn't happen by the end of this month, which was June, then I'm going to start proceedings myself, and it'll be done on my terms. And all of a sudden everything changed. But coming out on what was driving, and why, and a lot of the stuff I do is because of what was driving me, was this wounding. And it's so crucial, because literally there were childhood wounds that he was triggering that were like wounds of injustice, and I wanted revenge, and it was so unfair. How could he? I had no money left. He'd used all of my money, and then he went off and I had literally nothing. I had 70 something p, I think, left out of my savings. And so there were these wounds that were driving it. It was so unfair, so unfair. So for me, if you can, the ideal time to do it is before you get in that negotiation period, so that you know that your wounds aren't doing those negotiations. And my book, Divorce Matters, will help you do that. It splits everything into columns. It helps you decide the stuff that you really want, and it helps you to focus on what they want. And that's where your negotiation focuses, because that is where your power is. You giving them the things they want, and they think they're winning, but they're not, because you're keeping the stuff that you really want. And then it all goes quiet, and then you've got time to think, and those voices come back. You're not good enough. They're living their best life. They're maybe in a relationship. Maybe they're getting married. Maybe they're having children with somebody else. What's wrong with me? Why was I not good enough? Even though stacked up on paper, written down, you know that person was awful. You know that. But it's up here, because you've been brainwashed to believe that they were the best thing that happened, that you were soulmates, that they loved you. And how can somebody in an instant, in a moment, flip from being madly in love with you to walking away and leaving you? How does that happen? It doesn't happen with healthy people. And this is what we need to remind ourselves. So if you've got a moment, get a piece of paper and write your story out. Your story holds so much information. Your story is so powerful. Your story allows you to see the abuse that took place. And it allows you to stop. It allows you to stop hurting yourself any further. And then once you've got that story, sorry, I can't see if there are any comments because I haven't got my glasses on, because the light is shining really brightly. So it allows you to write your story out, warts and all, everything that happened. And this isn't done as a way to punish you. This is a way of looking at how far you've come. This is a way of snapping you out of rumination when you think this is all your fault. And believe me, I promise you, okay, I went through my divorce process. We were, oh my gosh, 2 years in. It took me 3 years. I've done this twice, and both times it's taken me 3 years. And I'd only agreed to the divorce, the way it was being done, because it was going to be quick. It wasn't. That's a lie. I had my information. Where was I going with that? I'd got all the way through the negotiation. We'd done this. We were nearly done. We were nearly at the last hurdle. And there was I don't know what it was. There was an email or something one day, and it just got me. And I hadn't seen the guy for 2 years at this point. I hadn't seen my husband, estranged husband, for 2 years. And I had spoken to him once the year before, and it upset me so much. I thought I was strong enough to do it, and I wasn't. But I was overtaken by emotion, and I did not understand what that was. I did not get how this person had destroyed me. And yet I still there was an element of craving 2 years later. And so I needed to investigate that. So that's what I did. I had a really honest conversation. This is where the honest work comes in, the honest conversation stuff comes in. I was able to speak to my inner child, because that was who I identified as wanting that, needing that, and craving that attention. I was able to speak to her, and she was able to tell me what it was that she wanted. And she just wanted to be seen and heard. And that was like the icing, cherry, or whatever on the top of the cake. It was the information, and it was so powerful. She just needed a bit of attention, and she needed to be hugged, and she needed to be seen and heard. And so that's what I did. In fact, I was already sitting on the bed. I went and I pulled the duvet over the top of me. I hugged myself, and it was just such a relief. It was as if I'd lifted a heavy weight from me. And then I was able to challenge everything. And then I decided, right, that's it. This is where I become my main focus. And, it takes a while. It does take a while, but you can do it. The things that have happened to you following that relationship, the things that have happened to you during that relationship, you lose your own identity. So this is, and you might not even have known who you were before. You can start to find out who you are. You can start to understand and understand how to nurture yourself and how to look after yourself. And that is so important. So the things that are going to help you right the way through from the start, at the beginning of this, right the way through, are grounding. Right from the moment this happens, from the breakdown of the relationship, that's the ending of it. That's the ending of everything. But it isn't for you. You're still attached. There's still emotions. There's still questions. So many questions. What's wrong with you? If you'd done something differently, would you be here? If you'd said something differently, would you still be in this position? Yes is the answer, because this was always going to happen, whether it happened 6 months later, a year later, or 5 years later. When somebody cannot connect with you on that level, it's because of the trauma that they experience. And this is no excuses, it's just an explanation. They're never ever going to be able to connect in a way that you need that connection, or in the way that you can connect. You are looking for something and needing something they're never going to be able to fulfill. Words are really cheap. People can stand there and say to you, I love you, but know that they're having an affair. That isn't somebody who loves you. If somebody loved you, they would be there focused on you. Grounding is really important. You can ground as you get up in the morning, literally as you get out of bed and you put your feet on the floor, you can ground. You can see yourself, see roots coming out and grounding you into the earth. You can do things like jumping up and down. You can move your body. That gets you back in your body. The safest place is your body. Your head, your mind has been tricked. It's been tricked to convince you that everything you've been told is the truth when it's in fact a lie. And then you can breathe and learn techniques like box breathing. Box breathing is so powerful, and you're again staying in your body. You are breathing and counting. So you're breathing, and what you're doing is you're taking the focus away from what's wrong with me, all of the things that you've been told, that you're a bad parent or you're a bad wife. You might be told that, you know, it doesn't matter what you do, you always burn the shirts, you always burn the dinner, you always overcook something, you're always doing that, and you go through that. Is it because I did this? Is it, if I didn't burn, you know, the shirts so much, if I didn't burn the potatoes so much, if I didn't burn the food so much, if I was able to do whatever it was, would I still be there? Would I still be in that relationship? And would I still be told how amazing you are? There's a difference between being told something and the truth. Somebody can tell you they're always doing something. It makes you stop and question. It doesn't mean that it's true. And this is where the third bit is. So counting and breathing is breathing in to the count of a certain number, holding your breath for that same number, breathing out for that, and then holding your breath for that. And we go round and round and round in a box breathing. And then the third one is honest conversations. So you can ask yourself, is this true? Is it true? Okay, so this is one that I used to hear a lot. I had trust issues. Is it true that I had trust issues? Actually, it was true that I had trust issues. The second part of that was I had trust issues because of my my other relationship where I'd been cheated on. So I can break this down. Yes, I have trust issues. Were my trust issues because of my first ex-husband who and his infidelities? No, they weren't. My ex-husband, my second ex-husband, who told me that I had trust issues, when we first started dating, told me he was single. And then over 6 weeks, I found out he was dating someone. And I thought, well, it's only 6 weeks, you know. And then I found out he was dating someone else. And then I found out he was dating someone else. And then after a few years, as it starts to settle and, you know, it's safe to say this, it turned out he was dating 5 of us. I can't remember that there was 5 other people. I was one of 5, I think it was. And other people had trust issues with him. And there were so many other things that happened. So no, yes, he was right. I did have trust issues, but actually the trust issues came from him. And I had an intuition really early on in our relationship that I overrode. And I talk a lot about this. You might have done the same thing. You've got this intuition that something doesn't feel right. And what happens? You're told that, you know, oh, you should be ignoring this. And, you know, and that's what I did. But towards the end of the relationship, as it was breaking down, I was getting those insecurities and those feelings again. And I thought, that's a bit odd. And then I got stronger and I was able to say things, but it was right last time. Last time I picked up, you're having an affair. Last time I picked up, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't wrong. And it actually turned out that I was right. Honest conversations. Is it true? Start breaking the sentences down and then ask the questions, is this true? And when you can identify where the pain is coming from, where the wound is, it will more than likely be a child that is needing attention and is craving. To me, these relationships, I promise you, are one of the biggest gifts that you will ever be given. And it's whether you're brave enough to step in and do that healing and take that baton. What happens in these relationships is horrific. It really is. And how people get up and function every day after them, it's mind-blowing, because we just do. You just have that inner strength, which should be celebrated. Every tiny little thing that you can do that's focused on you and that's bashing everything that you feel that's negative that you've been told about you is going to heal you on such a deep level, I promise. So if you need anything, shout, drop any questions. I'll come back a bit later and answer them.